tomorrow I got to be at the football field as the city clerk at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna start streaming, Eric.
I
Okay, we are streaming. Sorry, go ahead.
no, it's cool.
All right,
It's
because we're already 10 minutes late. I didn't realize that until right now. Ba-dum, bum, ba-dum, bum. Okay, are you in the chat?
I'm in the chat. Well, I put hey. I don't nobody. I don't see anybody else in there. Do we?
Then I don't think you're in the right chat.
Let me try it again. Did you see me?
Where's Billy? Yeah, probably in bed. Or he's in the garage. Go have a look at the TV. Watch where you're walking.
What's he doing in the garage? 3D printing?
3D printer.
That's awesome. Did you see me say hey that time?
Nope.
Yeah, let me refresh.
I don't see you in the room. On the right side, I see all the people in the room, and I don't see you.
I will reload.
Okay. Billy, I'm doing a show. Don't come back here. I love you. Yep, there you go. You're there. Okay. One quick check through that. We are good. Come back over here. Can you go ahead and launch your Audacity for me, Eric?
Yep, let me know when you're ready.
Go ahead and hit record in 3, 2, 1. Record. Test.
Testing. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I don't know why the streaming volume is so low. I'm gonna have to do some tweaking.
Does it sound low or does it look?
It looks low, and when I did the preview after the show, I'm gonna listen to the stream. But when I did the preview, it sounded like literally like half volume. Because what I do is I get as close to the mic, talk very loud, jack the volume up all the way to make sure it sounds too loud. So then you
don't want back away from the mic. You're good.
Right. It's normal, and it's not doing that. I don't know what changed. Something changed. Let me do this real quick too before I forget. Set priority very high. Changing what's called the nice setting.
Is it priority or state of mind?
Oh, it's priority. Okay. Which is something in Linux you really shouldn't do. But I am.
Are you escalating your privileges?
I am. Enhanced privilege activated. Okay, Eric. Episode, we did hit record. Okay. We are streaming. Let me hit trans.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Android App Addicts, episode number 450. I'm Eric. I'm not usually the guy who does this intro, so bear with me. We don't have Mark here tonight. It's just me, the manager. See, I don't get all the extra exalted, higher one, whatever he comes up with. So it's just the manager, my OLF, Ohio Linux Fest given nickname, and myself and Door, Steve McLaughlin, the DoorToDoorGeek. How are you tonight, Door?
I'm doing much better now, Eric. Crazy, insane week. Long story short, I'm going to do a DDG on this, but
yeah.
HostGator turned off Podnutz.com on Saturday morning, to me out of the blue, saying we're using too much resources up, so we're going to have to do some rearrangement, which always means we're going to pay money, and get stuff running, hopefully better in the end, because that's the whole goal. Anytime something comes, don't take it as a negative, take it as an opportunity to make stuff better. That's at least what I keep telling myself.
No, I agree. If you're using too much bandwidth, that means you have more people listening, so that's good.
All the problems we're having are good problems to have because of our longevity, being around literally 10 years, I believe February. We have over 80 gigs of MP3 files that are low quality MP3 files. It ain't like we're doing crazy size and quality of files. So to have 80 gigs of content is, to me, mildly insane. Awesome. Good problem to have. And the amount of terabytes we're using in bandwidth every month is also a good problem to have. It means people are downloading shows. So, yay, problems.
Well, thank you everybody for downloading shows. Share it with your friends. We don't care about bandwidth caps or usage amounts. We're going to be upgrading soon, so we'll want you all to test our new program we're on. And so tell your friends about the podcasts, this one and all the other ones on Podnutz, even the ones that don't have anything to do with tech, but they're held by tech guys, so that's cool.
Yep, I absolutely agree. And I will say I don't have any new hand Android hardware. Do you?
I ordered a new piece of hardware that should be arriving tomorrow, but it's not for me. I ordered the new Kindle Fire HD 8 for my mom, um,
Tablet?
tablet for it's their anniversary. My parents' anniversary is tomorrow. I gave him the GPD tablet that I had that you had given to me,
Hmm.
actually, and my dad's been using that for eBaying and things like that. So I'm like, well, you know what? My mom, she's tethered to that computer. Maybe she would like a tablet too. So this is the 2017 version. I had the 2016 version of the HD 8. It was okay. I mean, it was 1.5 gigs of memory, so you know what you to expect there. But this one, I don't know what the difference is. I think it might have better, I don't know, radios in it, different colors, whatever. Anyway, so I got that coming, and I'm gonna get them an Amazon Echo Dot too, just to move them into the, you know, fun stuff of the technology. They've got a constant internet. I mean, honestly, 2 years ago they didn't have internet, so they're moving, baby steps, right? But honestly, but back in the day, they had the web TV, so they were the first on the internet in the block. But then they kind of, stepped out for a while, and
Right.
now they're coming back.
Well, would you encourage people like that to have like a cheat sheet next to their Echo Dot with a list of commands that they could do, just so they can keep being reminded on what to do?
I think if they have a tablet in their hand, they would look that up. Watch a YouTube video on, hey, what can this thing do?
Gotcha.
Yeah, they're savvy, at least.
That's good. I don't have new hardware in my possession, but I have old hardware that's new again. I'll say. My aunt-in-law, long story short, had a severe aneurysm. Got very lucky.
Mm.
Came out of it glorious compared to how she could have came out of it. Her computer got an unbelievably ransomwared, like ballistically. And I was asked, "What can I do for it?" And I walked up to it and I turned it off. And I said, "That's what I can do for it." And then I put the Chromebook Flip in front of her, and she already had a Google account. She had the password, of course, written down on a Post-it note. And I open up the Chromebook, I log her into it, and I say, "Use this. This is, for all intents and purposes, not something you can get any viruses on. If you do think you have a virus on it, you just come over here, hold the button for 5 seconds, and then tap it again. It will turn back on. It will basically refresh the operating system." I said, there is no rush. Use this as long as you want. About 4 or 5 months later, she got the money together. She went and bought her own Chromebook, and I got the Chromebook Flip back from her then. And I will say, I think it has gotten overall smoother, even though this is now, I want to say, close to a year old hardware. Um,
Who
the
made that?
the Asus Chromebook Flip. Um, it is actually, I'm going to give it like a +7 out of 10 on the Chrome operating system experience. It is really good. The problem with Chromebooks come when you load like 6, 8 tabs and two of them are YouTube. That's when you experience a slowdown. The Android experience, I will directly contradict everything Mark feels deep in his bones about Android and about typing on his phone kind of thing. This is why in the Chromebook ecosystem, they now allow you to do Android apps. I loaded a couple text editor type things up, and I loaded up Voxer, and typing in that interface is very natural. Is what I'm going to say, very natural. There's still plenty of apps I go through my list I can install because they're not compatible with the Chromebook Flip, but it's one of those bang for the buck things. If you need a solid web browser and you enjoy some of the Android apps that you can run, as long as you're not extremely picky, you'll have a good experience is what I'll say. Not fantastic, not amazing, not a true Android laptop, but you will have a good experience.
That no, I just bought actually for my daughter started college, so I got her the Asus Flip C302, the new one. It it really, I mean, it looks if you didn't see the Chrome emblem, it looks like a MacBook Pro. It's really thin, really light, all aluminum, 12.5 inch though. It's a little bigger, and it's I she had a problem. I bought it. I drove to Micro Center, and actually I missed the show a couple weeks ago because I had to take it back to Micro Center. They give you a 15-day return policy, no questions asked, just take it to them. Well, her J button on the keyboard wasn't popping back up correctly. She'd
Oh,
hit it and it wasn't resetting back to its position. So on that day, I needed to take it back up there. So I did and swapped it out. But it's probably I think it's the second most expensive Chromebook right now. It gets great reviews. It was that and the Samsung, and she doesn't need a stylus. She would never use that. She loves it so far. She actually said this one's actually working for her better. I don't know what that means, but she said it's working for her better in some way. I don't know what that, whatever she said. But I was a little, I bought her an Asus Ultrabook when she entered high school, and it kind of lasted her. But man, Windows 10 just totally destroyed that Windows 8 Ultrabook, and the touchscreen stopped working. A lot of things just stopped working. This one's nice. It's got the lighted keyboard, which if you're gonna have a nice laptops are nice with a lighted keyboard for high school or college chicks and stuff when they're trying to do their homework at night and stuff before bed. It's just so hopefully it'll be a decent one.
well, I think it's one of those things. If you come into it with realistic expectations, you're going to be fine. I mean, not trying to sound dumb. I had the original CR41, I believe it was called Chromebook, the one you had to apply to get, and I
Mm,
got it. And
mm.
so I understood what they were supposed to be about. I understood the limitations to them. And to be honest, I almost liked those limitations. I knew when I opened it up, I wouldn't have to worry about updates. I like wouldn't have to worry about upgrades. I wouldn't have to think about what piece of software do I want to run. I didn't have to worry about the menu system. Does it say applications and then internet? I mean, where is everything at? No, it's just a browser. You just load the browser and you just do what you need to do. And I will say the Google Suite integration into it is near second to none. The way all the Google tools work in it is dangerously good. For someone who doesn't completely love Google, it's scary how damn good it works.
Her college is fine with everything she's doing. She had a cousin who went through the same college and with a Chromebook, and everything went fine. I use a Lenovo ThinkPad Chromebook, whatever it is. It's a flip one too, but I just got the Android apps added to it, and my daughter had it added to that one too, and it's okay. Android apps, the portrait mode on the screen, like you're saying, it's a little weird, but um, it's just a nice little added feature. I don't use them too much.
Gotcha, gotcha. We did have a follow up email from Ken. Don't know if you wanted to read that.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, yeah, I will say really quickly. He asked about Steve C. I did pick Steve C. Steve C. said him, all of his belongings, perfectly fine, nothing damaged, nothing wet. All of his friends, all of his family, who who are in the Tampa Bay area, all said everything is perfectly fine. So I just wanted to make sure Ken knew that, and then we got another re applied. For those who didn't hear, Ken is in the Houston area, and has
Yeah,
seen a lot.
my payroll clerk's parents are on the East Coast, and actually they're still out without power over there. Well, it didn't take the direct hit, but
Right.
um, here's Ken's email. Door Eric Mark. Wow, thanks for the time on the Android App Addicts show about Houston. I had no issue from the flooding, thank God. The only issue was a roof leak that my builder is still fixing, not a Harvey issue. Do you have a bit for survivor guilt? But oh, I'm sorry. He does have a bit of survivor guilt, but if there are no survivors, who will help? Door, the comment about being socialists, well, that stings a bit. I guess is technically true. I'd rather be called that than I'd rather be called that being human or having compassion. Happy to say for most people, it is the right thing to do. Go people. I don't remember you calling out people about being socialists, but
Well, at the very end, I heard somebody say it, and I thought there was at least a m- milligram of truth in it. But what I will say is, I apologize to everyone for even mentioning anything political on anything Podnuts. Ken, you are correct.
yeah, the only political thing we can talk about on this show is my reelection campaign.
There you go.
I King goes back to his email. I've been updating the list I sent you as I get more information. If people are interested in an individual person, I do have a tab friends of people I personally know. The first one on the list did lose everything except his laptop and a few things he could gather and the clothes on his back. His escape was a true escape in the sense of the word. He could have drowned in his building. He has an amazing attitude about it and great support from his friends and family. The last one on the list was in their house for 6 months after repairs from the tax day floods in 2016 and has to start all over again. But in a twist of good news, she had her second baby during the day Harvey hit Houston. They are asking for help. Others worse than them because they have flood insurance and will be okay. They're asking for help for others worse than them. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, eh, I've never, I have considered flood insurance. I've never purchased it though yet. Um, I live close to the water. I mean, literally, you walk out my back door, go through some trees, forest, couple trails, and there's water. I've never gotten it. I'm not in the 100-year floodplain. It would take two physical dams to fail. I don't know, and it'd have to come up a ways because there's some big hills behind me, but something to consider. Have you do you live close enough to the water to think about that door?
Well, I'll say technically I live physically close enough to the water, but I'm at least 30 plus feet above the water level.
Yeah, kind of same. Back to Ken's email. Now it's happened again. Florida, Georgia, South Carolina will be in desperate need of assistance, not to mention all of the islands in the Caribbean. In a switch, did you see the amazing things that Apple invented? Wireless charging, edge to edge OLED displays, the highest pixel density, VR capable, and face unlocking, and more, not to mention 4K on an Apple TV. Wow, they are amazing. Oh, wait. My 2 year old Samsung S6 had that and more, and my 4+ year old Samsung S4 has most of it too. Um, well, one thing is for sure, Apple probably has the best marketing team in the world, other than De Beers. I don't even know what De Beers is.
Oh
Is
man,
that a jewelry
Eric.
store? Is that a jewelry store?
No, more than that. De Beers is the company that popularized back in the 1920s buying a diamond ring as a in engagement ring. Before that, the traditional worldwide thing was to just give a gift, not a diamond ring. And now I believe right after that they popularized the idea of you have to do whatever 3 or 6 months worth of your salary as
They're the
a
ones.
wedding ring. They're the ones who implanted this into the psychology, and it worked. I mean, congratulations, you they made countless money and generations of their families stinking rich.
I'm so glad I was working at Walmart when I got engaged.
Good man.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And back to the email. Thanks again for the 14 minutes of discussion. It was humbling. Yes, it was emotional writing it, and it still is thinking about it. In a turn to others, I think Tampa was hit hard. Steve C needs some help. If Steve C needs some help, let me know. Still trying to find out if my former Scoutmaster's house exists because he and his wife moved to the Keys to help the BSA High Adventure Base. If I was a Boy Scout, that sounds like a pretty good place.
Oh
High
yeah.
Adventure Base in the Keys. If you do make it to Houston, I have no problem buying the dinner or the drinks. Also, have an available room downstairs if needed, and it's almost flood proof. Nothing's
Uh-huh.
100%. Happy to be happy, Ken. That's awesome.
That is. Thank you very much,
Glad he's
Ken.
cool.
Oh yeah. Well, and that's the thing. I don't want to say count your blessings because there's nothing to count. Sometimes things happen, sometimes they don't. The universe is filled with random chance. I'm happy Ken came out of this virtually unscathed, is what I would say, virtually unscathed. But I will say, Ken is smart enough to know this is the kind of thing that's going to affect his community, his area, his friends, and his family for years. It's going to literally take years for people to bounce back off this.
Hmm.
The one thing I will say, and I think Ken did mention this before, well, I didn't hear anything about any kind of looting in Texas whatsoever, which, to be honest, makes Texas more desirable to me than ever before. Even though they had catastrophe, ridiculous flood, people kept their head straight and did what they needed to do to help each other and to help complete strangers. So I think Ken's in a good area, surrounded by good people. And trust me, if I ever get down into the Houston area, you will know.
Yeah, me too. I've got a friend who lives near Houston, so if I ever visit her, um, maybe we'll check it out.
Very
All
cool.
right, Android App Addicts. Mark's not holding this episode hostage that I know of. There was no challenges to the audience or anything like that. We can actually bring some apps tonight without having to feel like it's they earned it or anything like that.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna let you go first, Dor. What do you got for an app?
First, I have to bring this app just because it's made by, as far as I can tell, one of the more passionate developers I've seen on Android, and that is the the d- doctor himself, the king of parallax. Uh,
Really?
yeah, Code Condor.
How did
Um,
I miss it?
I don't know, but I feel lucky I got it past you.
Yeah.
It is called AR GPS Compass Map 3D Pro. Yes, I believe there's a free version. $1.99 to buy. E for everyone. 553 reviews. 4.6 average reviews. Updated August 4th, 2017. Between 5,000 and 10,000 installs. This is a surreal AR look at your compass. So you can pull out your camera and you can see through the camera where the compass is, what degree is it pointing at, and then you can do like a split screen and you can see an overhead like Google Earth type thing where you can see the line to north on the map. I We mentioned Boy Scouts. This is the kind of app I could see, like, some Boy Scouts making really cool, and because it's by the doctor, the augmented reality is unbelievably smooth and good.
Yeah. Just purchased it. Thank you, Dor, for bringing it. Everything that uh the doctor does is I don't know, maybe maybe this he might take this as a slam a little bit, but all sure they might be useful, but these are the apps that you really just want to go up to somebody with an iPhone and say, "Oh, you want to know which direction that is? Let me pull out my phone and show you this. Oh, there's my compass app. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, oh yeah, it just laid right there in front of the lake. That's cool. Yeah, that's how it works on Android. His stuff is so beautiful and cool looking that it floats in the sky too. That's cool. I'm just I can't wait to play with this and show it off. His eh, if you ever want to show off your phone, you just load up something by him and put it on there and then show it off. It's
Yeah,
the prettiest version of what your phone could possibly be.
yeah. I'll say the only thing that shocks me is that no one has tried to buy him out or hire him up as talent to create more advanced applications. Because I will say, it does seem like everything he does is just a little bit better than what everyone else does in the same category of applications. And um, I'm just surprised somebody hasn't just offered him a stack of cash and said, "Come on with us."
Hmm. I mean, I can see it just in the screenshot where sure you could have a compass with a thing pointing forward, but to have every degree and the angles on the side and the tilt of your phone and all the gauges around it as it's superimposing um, the, those little details. That's totally the doctor. And if you're an old time listener, he was on our show back when we used to have guests all the time.
Oh yeah.
Very cool. I, I'm I'm always I'm always gonna. I've never found stuff from him that I didn't really like. At least for the, I gotta admit, a lot of the stuff I don't keep on there forever on my phone, but the first 10 minutes with it, I'm just like, oh, this is beautiful, so cool. Because I'm a sucker for a good, you know, screensaver or live wallpaper or something.
I'm here for at least show.
And he pretty much defined the parallax for everybody else. You know, he set the bar for parallax, I think, back when that was a new thing.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna well, I do want to make a couple announcements. So, did you get hit up from Google today as you were doing your random searching about the information that's coming out on October 4th?
Oh,
I
yeah.
was
Supposedly they're gonna have a new overpriced phone come out.
Yeah, and I'll probably end up buying that one.
Oh my goodness, Eric.
Well, I'm on Google Fi. What do I get?
Oh,
What do you do?
yeah. Well, yeah.
I still got the 5X, which is the cheapest phone that's ever been on Google Fi. So,
Yeah, but wait. Let me first not talk bad about that device. Let me say something good. This is where Google differentiates themselves versus classless companies like Apple. Um, Google did, I know, in the Houston area, and I believe they did in the Florida area as well. People who
right.
had a Pixel phone and had damage to it because the Pixels everyone thought was going to be water re resistant phones, and they weren't. Google announced a plan and they opened it up to a couple shops. Anybody who brings in any Google Pixel, I believe there was 3 or 4 different types of phones into that shop and had damage to it, they would be re re placed for free. Um, that's the kind of PR. That's the kind of dedication you can't convince someone to do. You can't really, in like ad material, convince people to do. That's the kind of relationship building that I don't see a lot of other companies trying to do. So I will tip my hat to Google for that.
The other thing they also did was if you are in an affected area, they gave you a $20 credit on your bill, so you don't have to worry about this month's bill.
Ah, very cool.
Yeah, yeah, that is cool. And one more thing they did, since we're just speaking so highly of Google and their Project Fi and their stuff, if you have a 6P that possibly you could have almost 3 years now. I had a 6P. I got rid of it because I didn't like it, and I traded it for the 5X. This is my third 5X because they keep freezing and boot looping. If you have a 6P that was doing that, which they also had issues with, if you had a 6P and you're still in warranty, they will now no longer swap it out for another 6P that's refurbished. They give you a Pixel XL. I'm hoping they transfer that down to the 5X to give me a Pixel. Otherwise,
Right.
but I don't know. I like my 5X. I'll be giving it to my son because honestly, he's a junior in high school and he still hasn't had a cell phone yet. So this will be his first cell phone. So that'll be pretty good for him, I think, for first one. He just and he just broke the screen on the tablet I had given it. I gave him that Dell tablet I had, and
Gotcha.
he dropped it and broke the screen on it yesterday.
Well, the 2 questions I have for you about October the 4th is one, have
Mm-hmm.
you heard anything that you think is exciting about the new Pixel 2 devices? And then two, is there other things or anything you could think of that they could say that would get you genuinely excited?
No, I'm just like I faster phone, which anything. I mean, the 5X is fine; it works just fine. It could be much faster. Um, more RAM. I've only got 2 gigs of RAM in this phone. 4 gigs of RAM would be good. I'm not really that much of a stickler. I mean, I used to get the newest Samsung phones back in the day, but I'm not. There's no. I mean, there's nothing a better camera, I guess. But I think the camera on this is fine. I'm not a photographer. Um, uh, Waterproof, I guess, would be nice. Wireless charging built in would be nice. Um, already love that this one has USB C. I mean, that's a given. That's got to have USB C.
Right.
I don't know. That's some kind of special Google sauce that works with my Chromecast or my Google Home or something. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sitting here trying to think what could they do that would be eye-opening or different. There really isn't much I can think of that would actually differentiate the phone, uh, except if I've seen Sony's on the side of the phone put the fingerprint sensor, fingerprint reader.
Yeah,
Um,
I wouldn't care for that.
but I'm just trying to think something different because all I keep hearing from everyone and myself is, well, better this, better this, better this, better this. So nothing new, just enhanced.
One thing I did hear about was it's squeezable because I'm
Oh
not going to get the
God.
XL. I'm gonna get the smaller one, the LG. I don't know, man. I find myself in rage squeezing my phone sometimes as it is. It doesn't do
Whoa.
anything, and I don't have enough power to crush it when I'm trying to. But I do squeeze my phone sometimes.
Mm.
Um, that and yeah, the fingerprint reader, it needs to keep that on the back. At least keep it. That dang iPhone X that they came out
Yeah.
with no fingerprint reader on it, and it goes to just facial recognition. I'm not thinking that's a very good idea at all. At
Well,
least the Samsung Note, when it had facial recognition, had another way. If you get, I just think of my nephew
oh,
a year or two ago when he rolled his truck. If your face is that disfigured and bloodied up, and you can't unlock your phone because you can't touch it with your finger, um, that's you can't make your emergency phone call because it doesn't understand that your face is nothing but red and I don't know. I don't get it. I don't like that at all.
well, they're going to have to enable you to password unlock it. I will say that. But I just love the fact that anyone who has one, if I just punch them right in their eye, they're not going to be able to open their phone for 3 days with using that technology. I d- I don't understand. I've never understood how people can get fascinated with something that other companies have been doing literally for years. Now, the old excuse is, well, yeah, but Apple's going to do it better.
Well, they waited and watched how the other people did it wrong, and now they're doing it the way it should have been done.
Well,
I
but
see that Microsoft was good at that too,
I
but
know, but here's the thing. They're playing exactly into the federal government's and local government's plans or ideas or wishes or goals of you get arrested, they sit there, they point the phone at your face, it unlocks. I don't like that whatsoever. I want to ensure that when I unlock the phone or it gets unlocked, I unlocked it if I am in fact locking my phone. I don't want someone to just be able to point the phone at my face. It's literally going to be something that I can see getting people in trouble. And I'm going to throw out a very stereotypical cliche term, which is this phone discriminates on an entire culture of people that wear burqas over their face. Um, it's just the truth. I'm just saying.
yeah, that's
Um,
pretty insidious. I heard that. I heard that described, and it didn't take long for that to get out. That
well, because it's common sense.
yeah,
I mean, you have to give people options. This is why the IBM ThinkPad methodology was so popular because there was never just one way to do something in hardware. There's multiple ways to do it. And their edge to edge phone isn't even edge to edge. Uh, you know, they're getting rid of the headphone jack. They're getting rid of the home button. They're doing face open ID. I'm sure the OS is going to be smooth. Sure, yeah, $1,000 smooth. I'm sure it's not going to be because that's 1,000 friggin' dollars. I mean, that's like literally 4 Chromebooks. That's insane.
yeah, and I can feel it already. That the Pixel that's coming out isn't gonna have a headphone jack, and
Oh,
I'm
uh,
gonna miss that. You know,
yeah,
I really am. But I can kind of see if you want the waterproof, you got to get rid of it.
yeah.
I
Well, to me, it's just one of those trends. It's one of those yings and yangs. Everyone is now rushing to get rid of their headphone jack for no good reason except, well, they did it. Well, they did it. Well, they did it kind of mentality. Um,
well, it's one way to get rid of the analog loop for
DRM.
yeah for DRM.
Yeah. I will say the best wishes I can have for the phone is that it's unbelievably stable and it doesn't boot loop on everybody.
That'd be
Um,
nice.
yeah, that would be nice. You know, Google, what would be nice? Maybe if your phones could not boot loop, maybe that'd be nice.
You
Uh,
know, my 5X, I don't want to make excuses for Google, but my 5X only boot loops when I go to reset it. You know, if I take it to nuke and pave, that's when it boot looped every time it's happened.
Right. Well, I mean, we'll see. And honestly, this is the kind of time of year, this is the kind of cycle in tech. I want to be shocked. I want to hear Google do something that just even makes me ponder the idea of spending a astronomical amount of money on a device. Um, I wouldn't, but I would like to at least be teased and to desire something else because I'm not seeing anything in any phone that's really getting me excited. And I will say OnePlus did tease the fact they're going to have a announcement here shortly. And what I'm going to guess is around dish $500, just below $500 phone, and it's literally going to be close to once again what we call right now a flagship phone specs. Um,
Yeah, I don't know what Google their little tease is. Ask more of your phone. October 4th. That's what it says. If you go to a Google search right now, below your recent history is ask more of your phone October 4th. You click on that. It says stay tuned for more on October 4th, and you can enter your email. I'm hoping that gives me some kind of coupon code. So I did.
right. Well, I'll say the old Moto X had the shake to activate your phone. Okay.
Mm,
Now squeeze the phone. Same exact thing, just different sensor picking it up. So that isn't even new as far as I'm concerned. And it might be one of those niceties that you might actually find that you like, but I honestly look at it as something else on the phone that could break, act up, or accidentally get triggered. Um,
yeah.
that's just me. And the one thing that they could do that I can tell you I would like to see is put the damn chip back in the phone that would allow you to customize your um, trigger word for the Google Assistant. I would
Mm,
like to be able to say Jean Luc and have my phone respond or something else besides the same thing everyone else is saying.
that would be nice. Yeah, I don't want them. I don't want them to mess with the fingerprint scanner and the opening of my phone is so quick with this even 2-year old phone. I don't want them to mess with that too much. I'm afraid if they, and I'm afraid for the Apple X guys, it just can't be that instantaneous. It may, but you know what I always said before they came out with the iPhone, that keyboard just can't work as good as a physical keyboard. Well, okay,
Well,
they proved me wrong there too.
well, here's the thing: the iPhone X can be that instantaneous, but it's going to mean it's going to have horrible battery life as well. I mean, they can
True.
naturally see if the phone is starting to wobble, preemptively launch that mechanism to do the face sensing, but there's no doubt it's going to suck down battery. And I hate to put it like this, but every phone consumer seems to be at least, I don't want to say okay with, but they accept every new phone doesn't get great battery life. We'll just, deal with it until they push out an upgrade and make it faster.
Yeah, I don't. It's got to get better battery life than the current thing I have, or I'm not going to be real happy about that.
Well, I blame
Even though
Tesla for
mine's,
that.
and I do, I'm going to keep with a small phone. I don't need a huge phone anymore. I've had the Note before. I'm never going back to a phone I can't handle with one hand.
Right?
The screen size doesn't do enough for me to warrant that. Okay, so while we're still talking about Google and not an app, here's another link, and let me know if this link works for you because I had to type part of it because for some reason copy and paste didn't work, and
Okay.
it looks like I might have too many slashes in there. Let me see. No, it
Oh,
did not work.
yeah, yeah, yeah. 120 slash it in the very beginning. Okay. Yeah, it sent me to a Google Play movies and TV movie rentals from 99 cents.
So right now you can rent any movie if you go to Google, the Google Play Store. Scroll back and forth on the very top. If you just go to play.google.com/store. Scroll back and forth from the very top, and you can get one movie rental for 99 cents. Any movie you want, HD or SD, you can rent one. So I'm just saying, I got recommended the movie that I think I might have talked about this last week. Um, the movie Snatched. One of my friends recommended it for me, so I went ahead and I got 30 days now to rent that to watch it. I rented it for
Sucker.
99 cents. Well, it was $4.99. I was almost. I'm glad I'm not a sucker because I almost rented it for $4.99. 99 cents is fine. Google Play, rewards paid for free movie.
Mhm. I'll just say in the list on the page, you do have Inner Space starring Martin Short and
That's a good one.
A a Mars a Tax. Both of them I give a personal thumbs up to. They're good ones.
I don't remember Mars Attacks. I definitely remember Inner Space.
Jack Nicholson is all I should have to say.
So you might have a different look then. It must be catered towards you
Sure, yeah.
because I have Austin Powers and the
Yeah.
Never Ending Story.
Right, yeah, then keep going to the right and I see Mars Attacks. Goes Austin Powers, Never Ending Stories, Little Giants, Love and Basketball, Contact, Cloud
Oh,
Atlas, and
gotcha.
then Mars Attacks.
Oh, okay.
And don't rent Free Willy, whatever you do.
Oh, yeah, that brings back a weird trip I took once.
Yeah. Do you have any apps?
Oh yeah, it's still my turn. All
Sure,
right,
yeah.
I'm bringing this one for Steve C, since he kept his power the entire time. This app is called Org 2017, 2018, Org 2018. And when you think of like synthesizers, you think of Korg, um, their products. This is Org 2018. Basically, it's a really super nice, free, well, free with purchases, um, synthesizer app that you can do some mixing, put up a bunch of different things, make midis, whatever you want to do with this. It works nice. And not everything's for free. Some of your voices and instruments you got to pay extra for you can get like packs of them. But worth a try for people who are into it and maybe have a tablet and they want to with a tablet with a headphone jack so you can do a line out into a you know some kind of a other equipment.
Gotcha.
That's going to mess it up. If you want to do like say this and you don't have a headphone jack, we're going to Bluetooth into your equipment that's sitting on your studio.
Sure. Or you'll plug up a USB-C dongle to it, and then you won't be able
That's
to charge your phone.
yeah, but maybe a USB-C dongle may add functionality that we don't know of yet.
I don't know. I mean, I can see this honestly being useful, functional, fun on a bigger screen versus a smaller screen. But literally, it's the artist preference of do they insist on having that tactile feedback of hitting a key? Do you know what I mean? But wow, I mean, this thing does seem to be obsessively uh, feature deep.
Yeah, well, you can connect it to your MIDI keyboard if you want to, and just use the voices and everything. You can sing into your mic to record yourself if you think that's good enough.
Right, and they say to you can shorten the latency if you go to settings, output sound, low latency method, play recorded note. So you
Hmm.
can get less latency because I know that that's one of the hangups a lot of people said about Android and music creation in the past. Oh, and it does say this, Eric, which I believe was one of your feature quest back in the day. Connect to a real musical keyboard via USB MIDI cable.
Right. Yeah, I've got a MIDI keyboard that yeah, that's the thing though. Maybe if I had this installed on my Note 4, because then I could use the OTG cable. I don't know if I have a way to go from my USB. I don't know if I got a way to go from my USB C into my MIDI keyboard, but definitely I could with the older one.
Gotcha. I don't. I would think a normal. Maybe there is a separate. Now that I click and link and look, maybe there is a separate type of USB C OTG cable. I had to say that really slow because I was going to mess that up. Um, so yeah, if you look on Amazon, you can see there is USB C OTG host data cables.
Hmm. Okay. There you go. That should be good to go then.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's start making some music.
Sure.
Hey,
Yeah.
I was listening to a podcast the other day, and um, there's a. Are you into cryptocurrency at all? Have you looked into it or thought about it?
I think it's funny. That's about it. Um, I believe I heard a thing recently. Basically, China has places next to dams that get free power where they're just churning through cryptocurrency. But then I hear China as a country is looking to literally ban it from their entire country.
Yeah, but they're looking to ban it so they can make their own
Oh, wouldn't shock me.
and make a standard on it.
Right.
You know how the U.S. dollar is. They want theirs to be anyway. There was a new cryptocurrency company who's going into music, and I was like, well, I can be first in the door if I use this app and make a decent song, where people would skip the recording artists. It would be like a Spotify. People would pay through this cryptocurrency, and the artist would get paid directly for the downloads. No part of it's taken from BMI or the other things. They're setting up their licenses with ASCAP and all that stuff that they have to do, but it's like a more of a peer to peer type um, music service. I thought that was interesting. I don't know.
It is. I don't want to say I'm not a fan of cryptocurrencies because they're never money. They can't be money. Anybody who gets these are always going to convert them into either US dollars, Canadian dollars, euros, or whatever for the foreseeable future until you can literally walk into a store with your normal type bank card and swipe it or chip it and dip it and flip it and use that there. But then it becomes one of those things until until the value becomes stabilized.
Yeah,
You're never gonna want to spend it. You don't want to work for 40 hours, get paid what should be $1,000, and then when you go to buy grocery, find out well it's not worth 1,000 anymore. It's worth $50. You know.
right. Yeah,
So
those surprises you can't have,
yeah,
and that
and I,
happens every day almost on the cryptocurrencies. It fluctuates so much.
well, and it can. And I mean, if people want to stuff mattresses full of cash, if people want to buy gold and bury it in their backyard, if people want to buy cryptocurrency and keep it on a thumb drive for a number of years, do it. Good luck. I hope it works out for you. Me, my logic is this: anything that happens in my life, money's never going to fix a single problem because there's a never-ending need for money and a never-ending income of money coming in. So it's always going to balance itself out. If I need more money, I will work more.
Mhm.
That's my logic in life. I don't look for handouts. I don't look for magic mystical deals. I don't turn the eight ball over and say, is the pick three number tonight going to be 355? And turn it over and have it tell me no. I'm not into gambling of any measure. And that's what I take cryptocurrency as a type of gambling.
Well, I'm into magical, mystical deals, but AMZ Review Trader turned into Vipon. So, do you think investing in the stock market and like day trading, that's kind of the same? That's gambling, right? Pretty much.
Well,
It's the same
it
thing.
it is, and I love people that gamble because it makes it so I don't have to. So I encourage everyone keep gambling as much as you want, keep having fun in it, and people who are successful at good job, great job, good for you.
Is it fun? Is that why they do it? Is it fun? I mean, I clean up the canal that's back behind me, the trails and things. The amount of scratch off tickets I find, like in certain areas, like, there's the one neighbor right across the street from where I'm picking up literally hundreds of scratch offs at $20 a pop. How long does that remain fun?
Well,
I don't know.
as long as you win every now and then, I'm sure they're fine with it. And I know at least in the state of Maryland, there's a pre-planned out, very deliberate algorithm of payout, which is for every $1 bet, you will get 50 cents back, like virtually guaranteed. So if you go spend $100 on scratch offs, almost every time you'll get back $50. And then once in a while, you'll only come back with $10. And then once in a while, you'll win $100 back. I mean, people like to think they get ahead of everyone and, I won this time, kind of thing. Me, no, no, I'm bored.
We've got statewide slot machines now. So every bar you go into has 5 slot machines. Well, yeah, you kind of saw that when we were in Washington. They had it too. And I don't know, man. It's just that's tax. That's just an extra tax that you didn't have to pay.
Right.
That now you're volunteering yourself to.
Exactly. We have casinos here, and I look at it as voluntarily paying taxes because a certain percentage of every dollar that goes in is guaranteed to go to, you know,
It, you might be called an addict,
oh yeah,
kind of like us. Thank you, Rhino, in the chat room for getting us back. I think it's more of an addiction, like with us, Android apps, Android app addicts. So we are addicted to apps. Andor, do you have one?
yeah. This next app I'm going to bring out and say it is purposefully perfect on the Asus Chromebook Flip. This is a full quote unquote desktop video game, no video in the Play Store. That has been on Steam for probably a year, if not more. I also believe for a short time they had it available as a Chrome extension, so you could run it on the Chromebook just fine. If you have a larger Android tablet, at least 8 inches is my logic, then this game is actually really cool. It's called Don't Starve Shipwrecked. Unreleased right now. It's $3.99 to buy by Keel Entertainment Inc. Adventure T for Teen. No in-app purchases, no ads. Updated September 7th, 2017, between 1,000 5,000 installs. This is the kind of thing I'm pretty sure if you come back and look in weeks, you'll see 5,000, 10,000, 8,000 plus downloads. Because I will say it like this: the game is that damn good. Um, you are a character. You can pick from multiple characters. Uh, in a previous game, you were on a land mass where you could go down in caves and walk around and find stuff. In this one, you find yourself on an island shipwrecked. You have to basically craft your stuff up, chop down trees, find flint, uh, herd coconuts off the ground, kill spiders, kill sea monsters, discover the map, find like warps, like wormhole warps around the map. Um, Find coffee. Coffee in this game is awesome. You can go by the volcano, pick the coffee plant, bring them back up by your base, plant them, pick the coffee, roast the coffee, drink the coffee, and then you run crazy fast for like 15 minutes or something for like some length of time. This is a unbelievably mature game. Even though this is a unreleased beta, it's been around a while. So all they're doing on this one is just tightening the screws, making sure it runs well on Android. I encourage people check out Don't Starve on other platforms. Check out videos of Don't Starve on YouTube, and I'm pretty sure if you like any kind of crafting and gaming, the art style and the animation will probably win you over. And there is Don't Starve to to Don't Starve together, which is coming to Android sooner or later, which I'm pretty sure, which is multiplayer. Same exact game, except me and Eric can start in a land and we can both uh, look for things, craft for things, support each other, or kill each other, which really is kind of counterproductive in the game. Um, so I'm sure only more games are coming as time goes on by these guys.
Yeah, this hand drawn look is so cool. I, I'm surprised. You know what? This is probably the first unreleased game I've seen that you have to pay for. But I mean, they've got some following already. They've got standing in the gaming world. The Don't Starve Pocket Edition is still $5. So this one, it's a good chance it might go up to $5 also when it gets released. So this might be a good chance to get it.
Well, yeah, and if you buy it now, you don't have to buy it again. I do believe when it was actually first out for the very first day, if you were quick, you could have got it for free.
Hmm.
I wasn't quick. And it's the kind of thing, just like Eric happily paid for the doctor's app. When I saw this app, no question, boom, take all of my Google money and take some more money out of my bank account because now I'm technically at zero after months, and I happily paid for this app.
And I had, I don't have anybody on my family. When I buy something, it says, "Oh, it's added to your family," whatever apps. I don't have anybody in my family apps. I should add some people to that, huh?
Yeah, I
I
mean,
mean, is it the same? Will that, or is it the family that I'm with you? I wonder. Maybe it's a different family. Maybe I can have a different family for apps.
well, you are in at least one of my families because I have multiple families because I'm door to door geek. Apparently, I have multiple families. I do believe you can be in multiple families. I do believe you can be a member of a family and a parent of another family, like in the Android ecosystem. I believe.
I have to check into it. Cool app though. I it sounds too involved. Sounds like something I wouldn't have enough time to spend with it to go through it. I kind of like the little quick and dirty games, but
Yeah, I will wholeheartedly admit this is not the kind of game you can pick up in 5 minutes, completely understand, and then pick it up for 5 minute spurts.
I've got an app. Um, this is a new social
Okay.
network app that's trying to come out where you live stream yourself, and it's
Snapchat,
like like
Facebook.
no, kind of more like my free cams, but for non-pornographic. You can like people, friend people, and tip them for their cool apps, their cool videos that they're producing live. And I don't know, maybe it'll morph into that at some point. It's a fairly new social network. Basically, you go on there and there's going to find people that are streaming live, and you can watch their live podcast or vodcast or whatever they're doing.
Well, the very first image says a lot, which is intelligent beautification, aka lie to people about how you look. So it can apparently on the fly beautify you in a stream, which I'm not sure how the hell they're doing that.
I could use that.
It looks like all it does is just change the brightness, nothing more. And then the second one is a guy windsurfing kind of thing. Um, I'll just say this: I've never heard of a successful social platform that, upon launch, has a feature allowing you to share to other social platforms. Am I could be mistaken.
I think it may just increase your reach, though. It's like,
Mm,
hey, my friends over here, I'm now doing this thing over there. You should come check that out.
uh, d- eh, am, is it okay if I say this thing gives me the heebie-jeebies?
I think it could go downhill quickly. I really do. In my experience of checking it out over the last week, I've seen no nudity. I have seen younger people partaking in illicit substances, though, live, which honestly is never a good idea. But you know what? They've got enough tattoos on their face. It probably doesn't matter.
Gotcha. Sure. Yeah.
So, yep, I'm gonna keep it installed, check it out, watch it go downhill. If it, I don't know, maybe they filter, maybe they watch, maybe they monitor. Doesn't seem like it, but I don't know. It's new. Eagle Eye. I was thinking, and honestly, there was some Christian ones on there at first. the, I got it. I don't know how new it was, but there was at least two channels at one time where they were people preaching basically Christian stuff, and then there other times I'll turn it on and it's just some girl drinking whiskey and smoking doobage, and talking, wanting people to friend her.
I guess that works for some people. Here's my question, because I'm not young, I'm not hip, I'm not even a fan of most any social network to say. Um,
Mm.
should I take and use the definition of social network as opportunity to be self-absorbed? Because it just seems like a lot of the things I see on a lot of the social networks, at least I visit, I look at, it seems to be, you know, look how great this selfie is. I only have
Yeah.
one chin.
I've got the feeling in the times that I lurked, I guess should say lurked because I wasn't producing. Um, I would say I had the feeling that these people felt that this is new. They were the first ones in, and they could somehow basically become famous. Like PewDiePie was the first person to start gaming on YouTube. This one is, these guys that got their foot in the door early on Eagle Live. If it pans out to be a good thing, they're going to have a lot of followers by the time it gets huge, and they're going to be huge with it. That's what I think. That's the gist I got from just the views I watched.
Gotcha.
What you got, Door?
Okay. What I'm gonna bring is something 3D printer based. This is by We Divide by Zero. Okay, which I believe is actually a website that I think does YouTube videos and some sort of podcast, possibly, is what I'm going to say. So the real reason to buy this is twofold. One, the app does what you want it to do, but two, I believe you buy it to support them. This was brought by, I believe, Liam Tidwell from the makers to me. It's called Filabase. Filabase, Filabase, which I'm sorry is a really good name. Um, what this is, it's a basically a database application you can have on your phone that will let you record, track, and categorize all your experiences with filament. Um, Here's the best way I can explain it to the layman out there is filament is like steak. Okay. If you say T-bone, everyone has in their head, almost everyone has a different perception of what that means. Just because I buy Zeal Tech PLA filament and I get great results doesn't mean you will. We all have our own personal experiences with it. We all have our different printers. All of our printers have different, um, dare I say, personalities, which is the wrong word, but
Yeah, I mean,
every
if I'm cooking a T-bone on a George Foreman, and you're cooking it on charcoal, it's going to be different.
right. And that's kind of like what filament is. So what this does is it basically allows you to make notes and categorize all of your filament in a interface. The app is $3.99. So what I really encourage people to do, come to the app, click on visit website, and I believe it's going to take you, yes, to we divide by zero.com. Click here for weekly podcast. 99% sure, not family friendly at all. Just going to
Hmm.
throw that out there. And they are on Twitter because that's where all the cool. Maybe they're not cool kids there, but that's their webpage. That's their podcast. The app I thought was actually pretty good. Um, I will say this: one review, E for everyone. It's a tool updated September 5th, 2017, between 1 and 5 installs, and I am one of the 5. So apparently, their podcast listeners need to support them more, is what I'm going to say.
Version 0.0.1. This is a good idea for anything. I mean, if this works for them, they should take it to other things. When you're in the iPhone screen repair business, it'd be nice to keep track of, your suppliers and things like that. Anything you do, what was good and what was bad. If you're going to be doing the same thing over and over again, just to narrow it down, some stop messing around with, wasting time making the same mistake twice.
And speaking of this, Eric, really quick, we did have another email. Technically,
Hmm.
we have a new Patreon supporter. Speaking of
Oh yes, Patreon. This I got this in the mail about ate my face, man. And Dora didn't even have to tell me who it was. Xavier Guillemon. He is the creator of Podcast Addict. He supported us with $1 pledge on Patreon. I don't know if that's the best thing in the world I've ever heard, but it's got to be up there. I love, and I was telling there's no app on my phone or any of my devices since I've even had a device that had apps that has been used. No app that's been used as much by me as his app, Podcast Addict. I mean, I thought back in the day it was really cool that we were Android app addicts, and he came out with this thing called Podcast Addict. It was like, oh yeah, symbiotic, whatever. Um, I think at that time we were still like number two on Samsung's whatever podcast app they had. We were like number two in the world out of all podcasts. It was so funny, but this thing, and he kind of had a weird in syringe needle kind of um logo at the time, and we were like, that's kind of weird, but his app works pretty good, and he's just kept going with it, and I don't know if he's number one in Android for podcast apps. I don't know why he's not if he isn't. Um, I'm, I was amazed that honestly, and it's not like it's reciprocal in too many ways, because if you go into the Podcast Addict search and you type Android, we are not one of the top 10, or maybe not even one of the top 20s that show up. So I'm glad he still finds our podcast, even though if he was to search in his own search engine, it doesn't show up. But that's because of the algorithm or whatever. Um, yeah, that's cool. I'm glad he still listens, and I definitely still use his stuff. So that's very cool. And thank you very much, Xavier. And someday, I tried to get him on the show back in the day, and his English just wasn't good enough. I believe he's from Italy, if I remember right. He just didn't have a, but he has a Patreon. So guess what? I'm probably going to support his Patreon, because I was telling Dora before the show, I'm like, I bought Podcast Addict Donate a long time ago. If he charged me so much a month, I would definitely do it, because it just works so well. And nothing against Mark's podcast app or any other podcast app. It's just the one that I'm comfortable with. I use it. I know Door loves it because it speeds it up. I have changed my speed of podcast, not as much as Door, but um, it's nice. And then Door also turned me on to another feature that I was like, you know what, Door, I don't even. He comes out with new versions and it updates. I don't even change nothing because I'm so happy with the way I use it. And go ahead, Dora. Now you can talk about it and maybe tell everybody about the tip you gave me today too that I didn't know about.
Well, it starts with when I edit my podcast. One of the last things I do is I use a feature in Audacity called truncate silence. And it can literally take like an hour 20 podcast and make it down to an hour, thus saving the listener 20 minutes of listening time. And I think it's a really valuable thing to do. Well, if you go into Podcast Addict, go into the player tab, click on the three dots, uh, two notches down, skip silence. So this guy automatically has the ability on the fly to basically skip silence on podcast. And I will say, if you listen to podcast without sounding pompous and arrogant and cocky, but at the same time, I guess I am. If you listen to podcasts that don't take the time to edit out silences in their content, and you find yourself once in a while looking at the player thinking, is it still on? Is it still playing? And it actually is. It's just a silent spot. You can turn that feature on very easily. You can even turn it on show by show. So some shows you might want it off, some shows you might want it on. This is the kind of feature that to me makes his one of the premieres. Now, I bought Dog Catcher literally like the first month I was on Android, and I use that forever. It takes a lot for me to change, and I've changed a couple times. I don't see myself moving away from Podcast Addict for a couple of reasons. One, easy restore backup. Okay, backup is fine and dandy. Backup all your feeds and progress of all your feeds in one click to Google Drive and then restoring them just as easy is a very sweet feature. You can easily push that around. Um, you can also share a place in a podcast. This is the one thing that I also think is unbelievably valuable. And I'm
Yes.
sure other players can do it. So don't tell me they can. But I can literally pause a podcast, click the three dots, share the placement of the podcast to somebody else. So I can say, listen to this. And they don't have to say when. Oh, go to 2230 and listen. Um, Podcast Addict is the most stable podcast player I've ever used when I speed up my audio. And now I speed it up to about 3.3 to 3.5. Uh,
Hmm. Wow.
most other players, especially uh, um, Pocket Cast, crumbles, and it gets distorted and it skips and it just sounds horrible. And I've tried it. I try that one every couple months, and it's never gotten any better. It is always one of the worst players I've ever had. Yet for some reason, it's among the top, which just tells me they pay a lot of money for marketing. Um, if Xavier figured out a way to charge me by the hour, he'd be rich. He would be stinking rich. The amount of time I have that app running in my device, and he doesn't put ads in it. He doesn't do anything slimy. He doesn't do anything scummy. I will say it almost seems a little bit disingenuous if now I go back and become a Patreon of his. I mean, shouldn't I have done
Yeah.
that first?
I didn't realize he had a Patreon.
I didn't either. So I feel like an ass. I literally feel like an ass for this. But I think I have no choice now. I have to go back and be his Patreon because I'm sorry to say this, but he's awesome. And if I can go to Patreon and keep giving him money, it's going to only ensure this app will remain relevant, keep getting
Mhm.
updates, keep being solid, and keep moving on. I'm sure there's going to get to a point where he becomes bored with it and moves on, or he discovers the Nintendo Switch is selling more than every other console still, and maybe learn to play one of them. But for now, he's doing this podcast addict thing, and I literally cannot thank him enough. And to really do, here's how I'm going to thank him. I'm going to ask everybody out there this month, don't join the Android App Addicts Patreon. Do not join the Podcast Addict Patreon. And then when you do, send him a message and say, Podnutz told me to support you because I hate saying it like this. I said it now and I'm getting really tired of saying it myself, but support those who support you. He went out of his way to support us. We don't have to talk about him as much as we have in the past. We have because he does a damn good product. So now I'm encouraging everybody else. He's supporting me. Show him some love back. Support him too because to be frank, he deserves it. He does
Agree.
genuine work on a genuinely good product, and he keeps making it better all the time.
Yeah, and if he would have sent me an email at some point, said, "Hey, I'm doing this Patreon. You don't have to rebuy my stuff or anything like that, but there you go," I would have done it then. Just for whatever. Uh, Podcast Addict last updated September 12th, 2017. 5 million to 10 million installs. Current version 3.45.4. And he's even so much as has left a version out there on the Play Store for Android 2.3 and older, the older Android versions for, underserved areas. If somebody's got a hand-me-down phone from a few years back, they can use a decent podcast player and get all this information that we just kind of take for granted in our new ones.
Ready, Eric? Here's how little he wants to come on a podcast and talk about his product.
Hmm.
You ready? The top goal, $20,000 a month. We as a planet have to pay him $20,000 a month. Then he'll do a podcast discussing the development of the app. That's how little he wants to be on it. We have to pay him that
Twenty
much,
thousand a month.
20,000 a month for him to be on a podcast, and I can't afford it, people.
I will say he does. If you scroll down, it shows like little features of it, and he's one of the few podcast players that sorts by networks, and it got listed Chinese, Dutch, English, French, German, and Italian networks, And Podnutz is one of the networks listed for English, so that's right on the Google Play ad. So that's nice. It's so we're representing there.
Well, yeah, and I'll say I don't know if other podcast players do this as well, but now I've realized one of the new features is radio. So hypothetically, you're completely out of podcast and you want to listen to something, and you say, "Self, I'm going to listen to something about Linux." You just go to the radio section, search for Linux. It will basically play from, I believe, most recent to oldest, every single podcast they can find with the word Linux in it.
Hmm.
So you can literally put in trucking, farming, knitting, college football, whatever, and just listen to basically an endless stream of content. And I used to once in a while fall back and go to Google Music and play Weird Al on random repeat kind of thing. Now I don't have to do that. I discovered the radio feature in Podcast Addicts. And now when I'm done, there's nothing more to listen to. I just type in Android or honestly, I do stuff like education, Linux, Maker, 3D, Raspberry Pi, and I just listen and listen. So Xavier has me hooked.
I was just looking through the reviews and how often he responds back to the people who leave reviews. It's very cool. Thank you, Xavier. You didn't have to do that, but we appreciate it, and we still love your product very much. And thanks again.
Hey,
I've got a game door. Or
hey,
did you bring an app? Did you bring an app?
it's your turn, I think.
Is it okay? All right, I got a game.
Yeah, yeah.
If I can, man, I am having a hard time copy and pasting tonight. You ever
Must be
have
all
that?
those viruses. Oh wait,
I can't do it. Wow, this is weird. All right,
what?
there we go. Control C. I hit Control V. Darn it. All right. Anyway, let me try this again. Door. I don't know why. Oh, there it goes. Just fine this time. Paste. Okay. This game is called Gemini. It is not a free game. I think I paid 99 cents for it or something like that. It is by XD Network, rated E for everyone. It's a hard game. I thought I was gonna. It's another one of these games. You know, Door's not gonna like it because it, it right at the very beginning says best with headphones. So it's a whole Zen like thing again. You should put your headphones on. Just anyway. So basically, your player is two little stars that orbit each other, kind of, and it's the playing of the game is extremely random. You don't know exactly what to do at any point. There's a lot of different things you have to do. It doesn't give you any instructions on where to go or what even your objective is as you move through these levels that just morph into one another. Um, but you kind of pick up on it. Now I'm stuck, of course. Didn't take long for me to get stuck because it's not that easy of a game. But it's a neat concept. I kind of like the free flowing, just the challenge of figuring out what to do, and then and then mastering that and getting past it and moving on to the next thing is kind of neat, and it's pretty.
Oh yeah, yeah. The only words that come to mind are well, gorgeous, but man, I hate saying it like this. Organic. It's
Yeah.
it's it's almost like you're a proto life form in some fantastical setting. Uh, and weird there's things you have to do that you literally have no idea what you have to do until you figure out what you have to do, and then you do it. And then there's a new uh, level or stage. The price in the store is $1.99
Okay.
for this.
If you
Apparently
go
this
if you go to the
this
second screenshot, that's where I'm stuck. The same.
okay. Um, uh, I'll say apparently this was big. 2014, uh, 2016 South by Southwest, 2014 Boston, board. So this has been around for at least a little bit. I'm going to guess possibly on iOS is what I'm going to say. I don't
Mm,
know.
maybe.
Only 100, only between 100 and 500 installs, which to be honest, for a game this good looking, I'm kind of shocked.
So I'm wondering maybe if it was on iOS and it just came to Android then.
I don't know, but I mean, it really does look good. Really, really does look crazy good. Very cool. Yeah, it's by XD Network developer. Can't say I've ever heard of them either.
And I don't really have a tank this week, Door. I think that's gonna be it for me. That's my whole tank.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, the one I'm gonna bring here is a. Again, I'm trying not to bring games, and I keep finding when I find games, I do put them in my queue. But this is an app I found, and I think it's really useful. It's called Mind Meister. Mind Mapping by Meister Labs. Productivity, E for everyone, 3,500 reviews, does have in-app purchase, completely free to download, no in-app ads. 3.6 average reviews, updated July 10th, 2017, between 100,000 and 500,000 installs. Version 4, 4.2.1. This is a dynamic, very GUI mind mapping application. Think of this as graphical brainstorming.
Mm.
It allows you to basically plan out and organize thoughts. Um, you know, you can objectively think of things that need to get done in a correct pattern, fork things off, come to like all of the conclusions that make something happen, kind of thing. Um, I found this really actually good looking, and it does look like this does have some kind of multi-user kind of functionality. If I read this right, I didn't even realize that. Um, this is the kind. Put it this way, people. Door to Door Geeks Achilles spinal cord, if you will, is organization. So I'm pretty sure that's what the in-app purchase is now. It's the ability to have everything through a portal to allow other people to also partake and chip into it.
Well,
In-app,
and I think it's a web or a PC or like a web service that syncs with your so you can come up with an idea while you're sitting at your desk and it syncs to your phone. So later on when you're driving down the road or running, you have another idea. You can add it quickly and sync it back to your main you know service.
gotcha, yeah. And it says the in-app products is anywhere from $8.99 to $134.99, which I'm going to guess is like a multi-year plan. If I come here look at the personal plan for individuals, $4.99 per user per month. The complete business, $12.49 for 12 months. So that's the 12 by 12, 144. I'm sure you get a little discount. So that's what the hook is with this. You can do collaborative and online syncing of mind maps. So if you're a mind map person, if you already know what a mind map is, this might be the special tool that you've been looking for. I will say that because it does look really good. It does seem like it does everything I've seen other mind mapping tools give you the ability to do. But if you need online, if you need something all centralized, you can access on multiple interfaces and have teams involved, then it looks like this is the one that I would say give it a look.
Man, I really wish I was a person who would use this. Seems like, oh, so smart, such a great way to do things right. I don't bring myself to do it. I don't know if the people around me, if I could get them on board to play along either. That's the thing.
That,
I'd have to get myself sold on it to try to sell them on this.
yeah, that's the thing. To me, what comes to mind this being useful for is like a enterprising startup, small group of people trying to flush out concepts and ideas and products and stuff. That's who I could see this being really useful for.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me
One
look.
more door? One more.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring one more here, and this is really, to be honest, I'm gonna say I think it's actually a weird one. But it actually might be useful as well. This is a pay product. It looks like right now it is 99 cents. I think there is a free version. This is called Search Everything Pro Key. Only explain this in technical terms. This is grep for your phone. You type in a search term and it will search everything in every file in every way to try to find that matching character string.
Did you say grep?
Grep, GREP. It's a Linux Unix tool to basically sort through files. So hypothetically, you have a whole bunch of files on your hard drive and you're looking for something with your social security number in it. You would just grep and look for your social security numbers and it would look through everything for those exact numbers and spit out all the files that match.
You mean like Finder?
It's
Windows
like,
Explorer? No, no, I'm sorry.
yeah, it's like crazy advanced finders, what I'm going to say.
Okay.
But this searches inside of other files as well, not just text files. And it does give you the ability right there to open it, try to open it inside the app itself, or link it with an outside app and try to open it as well. And if it's like an audio file, the audio player will pick right up there and start to play. Um, if you have too much stuff on your device and you once in a while find it difficult to find things, I found this to be an unbelievably quick way to perform very vast searches on like your entire SD card.
Yeah. th- I don't. I guess I don't keep enough things like useful stuff on my phone that I don't think I've ever needed this. I guess it's because I don't name my photos. I don't know.
Yeah,
If it was my daily driver, I mean, my phone is my daily driver, but if it was my work device, I guess I could see using it. Doesn't the Google app though search your phone as it is? But probably not anything like this though, I guess.
no, I'm sure it only searches like key folders and key types of files, and that's really it. Nothing more. Like with OwnCloud, for instance, it literally might be quicker to open. If I open up my own cloud, dig in 5 folders and say download to my phone, it actually might be easier for me to open this app, search for that file rather than navigate the file structure down to where that file exists. I don't want to use the word niche, but only a couple people out there will look at this and think I have to have this app, and I freely admit that. And that's all that I will bring this evening there, Eric.
All right. Well, everybody, thank you for listening. And once again, um, patreon.com/ something else, not Android App Addicts. Go over and hit up the podcast
Podcast addict.
addict.
Yeah.
Uh, patreon.com/podcast addict. Go there, donate to Xavier. Use this product. I mean, if you've never tried Podcast Addict and you're using some other thing that you seem like you're happy with, just try Podcast Addict. See what you think. Um, I've like Dor said, I've tried them all too. Every time I hear of a new one, I try it. I just yeah, keep going back to it. You'll love it, I think. Um, thanks for listening. We will talk to you next week, and we'll have some more apps. See you then.
Stop
Stopping
the
audacity.
audacity.
The audacity of the stop button.
Oh, I'm so happy I don't have to go to work tomorrow.
I gotta go. I'm only leaving home 3 hours earlier than normal tomorrow.
Oh my goodness.
I gotta be out on the. I gotta be at our football field at 5 a.m.
That's too early, dude.
for a pep rally because it's homecoming, and the guy who set it
Ah,
up, the guy who set it up with the TV station from an hour away, they're coming to our football field from an hour away. The guy who set it up said, "Yeah, you're the city clerk. You need to be there." I'm like, okay. Oh yeah.
Thank you. Yeah,
My son's gonna be there. He's in the band, so it's all good.
that's cool. Okay. 80. Enter. Enter. Shaving. Oh my goodness. Oh, what a week, Eric. Yeah, and already told Cody and Martin that I'm literally going to start saving up next month to make sure next April I can make it to Linux Fest Northwest.
I'm gonna have to try to do that too. But I want to get Josh out here.
Oh,
We need to have a Podfest, and we all play frisbee golf at the park right down the trail from my house.
I don't
And
know if Josh is used to getting shot at.
what are you talking
Well,
about?
first off, Eric, you want us to come out into the middle of nowhere?
Yeah, you know what? We've
I
even
don't.
got. I'm. I'll have to
I,
tell.
I don't say
I'll
that
tell
we
you
should
what.
have a. I don't say we should have an event in Joppatown, Maryland.
It is the middle of nowhere. But here's the thing: we've got another frisbee golf course in town named
Uh,
Josh. It's named Joshua Park. With
oh,
it's got 18 holes, and it's called Joshua Park, and it's
nice.
in Rock Falls. And you can Google search that right now if you want.
No, I believe you. Why would I Google it?
So that's not even the one that's right down the street from my house. So
Gotcha.
there's 36 holes within 2 miles of my house, and one of them's called Joshua Park. Just saying.
That's cool.
And if he can get lost in China or lose his dad in China, he can come over here to Illinois.
I will say, as time goes on, I'm considering more and more and more the idea of having a Podnutz event. Is what I want to say.
Yes. Getting closer to 500 episodes. I get reminded that every time I look at my watch now.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, because like we're having the Washington D.C. is having the Unconvention. Honestly, I think it's this weekend. Um, there's literally going to be at least 6 or 7 people who I could say easily are Podnutzians.
Where?
Washington D.C. Problem is DC is crazy expensive.
Yeah, DC. I'd go back to DC though.
Just too expensive, man. Just too damn expensive. I mean, just to eat food there for a day is like $100.
Yeah, we got ridiculed by our local media for having what they had what was it, red snapper. Anyway,
Red
our officials went out and found some kind of fish for like $30, and that it's like $30 for the dinner
Uh-huh.
in Washington D.C. And I'm like, man, you should give them a medal for finding anything other than a
Well,
burger for $30.
the gimmick is it ain't red snapper.
I don't know what it was. I don't remember what it was. It was
Well, no, that's the thing. It was I'm not
tilapia or something.
no, I don't completely believe everything is what I'm gonna say, but Freakonomics is a New York radio program as well. Um, they looked at a study that said literally something like 86%, and I believe Adam Ruins Everything also mentioned this as well. 80 something percent of restaurants where they went in and pulled it and DNA tested the fish. 80
Mm.
something percent of the fish sold wasn't what they were saying it was. They basically lie and say, "Oh, this is red snapper." It's something else completely different. And the thing is, red snapper was never called red snapper. It was called something disgusting because it's a disgusting looking fish. The face is like barbaric. And then when they started running low on another kind of fish, they said, "Well, we'll call this one red snapper." Start selling it.
Hmm. Episode 450, right?
480, man, 80.
Oh, 480. Yeah, 480.
480. Okay, so now I got to do this. Now I got to save these. That's what I got to do. I got to save these apps back into my pocket because I did not bring them. What I got to figure out is which one of my phones, if any, can I hook up an OTG to Ethernet adapter to? Because here's the logic. If I'm going to do like streaming of games of any kind on Android, I need to be hardwired in. I cannot be wireless. Um, you see my email, Tony, from Android Unfiltered?
To him?
No, I asked you to ping him again, and if he doesn't have the headset, if he still wants to be on, I'd pop for one.
Yeah, I maybe maybe I didn't. I thought I did.
You very well could have. He just might be busy.
Well, he
Because
because then he was yeah, because I thought I did that before he started looking for help, looking for freelancers or whatever.
I'm not sure, but because he did a stream game, and it was definitely a little bit jumpy, laggy, skippy. And I asked him if he had an OTG Ethernet cable, and he said, "What?" I said, "Yeah, OTG." He said, "I didn't know they existed." Everybody I've seen who stream Android games, basically, you have to do that, or else it looks like crap.
Mm. You just got to make sure that your OTG, wait, huh? That your phone has the driver for that NIC card in the end of that OTG cable, kind of.
Yeah. But yeah,
Okay.
it has to be the driver has to be baked into the kernel, and you basically never know if it is or not until you plug it in.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you most of the time have to download a separate application on the store just called Ethernet that will let you disable Wi-Fi and run DHCP on the hardwired NIC and get an IP address. Oh, we didn't do the app rundown, Eric.
Ah,
I forgot.
that's why would they bring Mark? We are inept without him.
What is this? Josh looks like my type.
Are you watching this video? Wheel of Fish.
I know. I was doing. Oh, that's UHF. Yeah, Wheel
Yeah.
of
Oh, there's Red
Fish.
Snapper.
Red Snapper. You're so stupid. Stupid. I love that movie. So stupid. So stupid. So good. Okay, so now what I need to do is say, edit the wrong one. Edit. And yeah, that's one thing I got to do, Eric. Damn it. I got to sit down and create a dedicated YouTube account for this show.
Dedicate what account?
YouTube account for this show.
Wow.
I really need to do that because I need to make sure all the shows are separate. So when I start to do more shows, let stuff go boom. Okay, so now let's do this. I need to not mess this up. Edit. That's right. Edit. That's right. Edit. That's right.
I don't know if you can hear me. I didn't kill the sound, but I'm not sure.
I can hear you.
Disc golf Eric. I think when he uses the name disc golf Eric, it just means, hey Eric, let's play disc golf.
We only had 8 apps. That seems low. And most of them cost money too.
Mark's not here, man. I'm telling you, everything falls apart without that guy. We don't bring enough apps. We don't do a rundown at the end of the show. Little.
We bring a lot of money apps apparently.
Bringing the money apps.
It's all close. Control C. Control V. Control V. What? There you go.
Door, I'm gonna have to hit it though. I got a really early morning to get to.
All right, man. I'm just doing the normal post editing.
Josh, I will. I'll look forward to April in Washington. See what I can do about that. That sounds cool. I'll have to start looking for exact days and things like that. Door, I will be out in 2 weeks, I believe.
Got something going on.
I'll be in spring. I mean, I'll be in Springfield for a week.
Gotcha. All right, man.
I'll let you know. It's October, I think second week of October or something like that.